What is going on, everybody? What's happening? It's your boy Marcus Washington. You're on the mark where we talk everything Falcons football. And thus is the day that we officially swear in Raheem Morris as our new head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. Seems weird after everything that's transpired in the last month or so. But yet here we are. A lot of movement. He's already got his offensive, defensive coordinator. He's moved some pieces around that were here before his regime. So we'll see what transpires from this, man. I don't think they're gonna give us a lot in this press conference. They're gonna announce that he's the coach. I expect to see Terry Fontenot at this meeting or at this press conference. I don't expect to see Rich McKay at all. Even though he's somewhere, he's in the building pulling strings. I don't expect to see or really hear from him this press conference. But I think this is going to be pretty blah. They're not going to give up their hand. I'd be surprised if they do. Let me get to some of these comments. Carlos says, damn, I'm in a meeting. What's up, squad? What's happening? Keona says, what's up? What's going on, my brother? What's happening? Dirty Bird says, what's good, Mark? Nepotism and incompetence has killed my fandom for this team in the NFL. The Falcons got 1 year to prove they're a team worth cheering for. Yeah, they definitely they have to make some strides in the upcoming year, man. We have been a losing team for quite a while now, and it's time for the tide to turn. Shard says, me too, and I wanted to see it, but what's good, Marcus, and the rest of y'all? What's happening? What's going on, Greg? Greg says, Mark, what's up, homie? Congrats to Killer Mike and the LAPD. Yeah, I saw that, man. I'm not really a award show guy anymore, especially with these Grammys. Man, Grammys have been a joke. All right, they've been a joke. Taylor Swift winning her 4th album, it's a joke. It's a joke. But Killer Mike swept like the rap categories or whatever, and then they had this man hauled off in cuffs, and to my knowledge it's a misdemeanor. Again, more news will come out for that, but kudos to Killer Mike for winning these awards that he so badly wanted. What's going on, Scooter? He says, what up, Mark? Ready to get this draft and free agency signings? Yes, sir. John Newman just put the salute, fam. Kenny, what's going on? He says, what's up, fam? Can't wait for this press conference. Can't wait for him to prove all the doubters wrong. Logo business. Amen to that, fam. Amen to that. And if y'all hear anybody hollering logo business in the future, y'all know where it came from. Y'all know where that came from. Alejandro, what's happening, Alejandro? He says, what it do, Mark? What's happening, fam? What's happening? Dexter says, what's good, Mark? Hopefully Terry Fontenot isn't stuck in the line at the Starbucks. Hopefully not, man. They need to do your boy right with this press conference, man. I expect to hear Terry Fontenot more than I hear anybody else, to be honest, if I'm just being 100% real. Ahmad says, I'd like to hear how Raheem is going to change the culture here, tired of the mediocrity. Give me attitude and wins going forward. Yeah, man. We definitely need a culture change, and we definitely need to get on the winning side of things like ASAP. April, what's going on? She says, what's up, Mark? What is happening with you? What's going on? Armani says, Marcus, what's up, fam? And I'm stealing your logo business. I'll make sure to cite you as a reference in APA format. Hey, man, I don't mind if people say it, man. You can't control what people gonna say. I just be like, man, I be hearing people that got negative stuff to say about me, but then be using my terminology in the same breath. It's like, bruh, stop. But yeah, man, go ahead, fam. Go ahead. Y'all know me. But yeah, I think this one is going to be short. I don't expect this to run an hour and a half like that press conference between Arthur Blank and Rich McKay went. I mean, that thing went on and on and on. This one, I feel like they can wrap up relatively quick, 30 minutes max, and then they up out of there. Brian, what's going on? He says, been rocking with you since the Facebook days. Never miss a live. Keep up the good work, bro. Appreciate it, fam. Appreciate it. It wasn't until my last live I hadn't realized how long I had been doing this thing, man. And I'm like, damn, those years flew by. And I'm still here. The Falcons then gave me at least 20 of the gray hairs I have on my beard now. At least 20. Minimum 20. I'm aging as a fan over here. What's going on, George? How you doing, fam? How you doing? Hope your day is going good, man. Armani again says Raheem Morris probably going to say thank you, kiss the wife and the kids and his parents, and like you said, Terry going to be doing most of the talking. Yeah, I think, after they brutalized Terry Fontenot in that last press conference, man, they got to do some damage control here, and it wouldn't shock me if they said, they were like, yeah, we're gonna allow Terry all the credit for the Raheem Morris hire, because you got to get some type of balance back for your GM, man. That last press conference did not look good at all for your GM. So the fact that they announced Raheem Morris as the head coach, which was a serious curveball, because I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. There might have been a handful of people that saw that coming, but somebody like me definitely didn't see that coming at all. And then hours later, you announce that Rich McKay no longer is in control of football operations. I think that was planned. But nonetheless, we're here. Peyton says, here for another live. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Hucklebuck, what's going on? He says, what is the one thing you expect to hear from Raheem in the press conference? The one main thing I expect to hear from him is how he's going to turn this into a winning ball club again. Seeing how he's been here before, and he was an interim coach. I kind of want to hear his plans for us turning the page and us getting to a winning season for once. Let me say this. With this team and how it's constructed right now, it's not hard. It is not hard for this team to win games. It's just terrible coaching, a terrible quarterback. That changes a lot of things. You get a competent coach and a competent quarterback. All of a sudden, those 7 wins turns into 10 or 11. Easy. George says it's ironic that the press conference is 7 years to the day we blew the lead in the Super Bowl. Oh God, man. Yeah. Oh God. See, I was just doing fantastic. I was sitting here, coffee hot, and gotta relive that. Thank you, George. Travis says, Desbian, spoiler for the press conference, he's not naming Ritter the starter. I don't think he's going into detail about roster at all. I'm pretty sure he'll be asked about the quarterback position maybe, but I don't see him answering that at all. Monica says, good evening. What's going on, Monica? I think what might happen in a situation like that, first off, here's the thing. We know by design when a new coach comes in, they want their guys. That means at the quarterback position too. They want their guys. I'm of the like mind. Desmond Ridder will be competing for second string. Whoever they decide that's going to be their quarterback for next season, it's not going to be Desmond Ridder. Whether they move up in the draft to get one, whether they stay at 8 to get one, whether they sign a veteran quarterback, whether they trade for a veteran quarterback, I don't think Desmond Ridder is your guy next year. I think he's campaigning for the second spot at best. But even with that, I don't think Raheem Morris is going to say anything about that in the press conference. I don't think he's going to be giving up anything really in the press conference. He might talk about his hires, his OC, his DC, keeping Jerry Gray, what they plan to do as far as, the coaching staff, that type of stuff. Keona says, what pick did we get from Calvin Ridley, and can we use that pick to trade up? I'm not sure what they're doing with Calvin Ridley right now. If he got extended, I think it was a second rounder. Hold on. Let me go back. It's been a minute since I revisited that trade. Well, they're saying he's set to become an NFL free agent in the offseason. Interesting. Let's see what the Falcons. Well, I'm pretty sure somebody in the comments or in the chat knows. Because I honestly don't feel like reading this. Ahmad says second. Okay, here you go, Keonis. Ahmad says second round if extended, third if not. Yeah, that trade was kind of weird with the language, and we went over it when it happened, but it's been so long ago. Steve, what's happening? Steve says second round. Okay, second round if he resigns, third rounder if he doesn't. What's going on, Steve? What is happening, Jonta? What's going on? You know what? Knowing me, man, and I listen. This is just me putting on my Doctor Strange cape and going into the multiverse. I'd take a peek at Calvin Ridley again if I was the Falcons. Now, saying that'll happen, nah, I'd kick tires though. If he's gonna become a free agent, I'd kick the tires because at worst, we got a third rounder for him. Imagine getting a third rounder for him and then bringing him back. That's a double dip for you. Because he's, Calvin Ridley, before he started, gambling on the game and, battling his issues, he was one of the best route runners in the league already. But I doubt Atlanta's going to go back that way. When you break up with the next kind of weird to go back to it. Jack says, what's up, Marcus? Just got done listening to your last live, LOL, and how we go from football to Will Smith's Wild Wild West seamlessly is wild. Yeah, man, y'all know we mean to drive straight, but we always take turns and get off exits and stuff like that, man. I don't even remember how we got there. We were talking about Russell Wilson. We're talking about Russell Wilson and his wife Sierra. Then it jumped to Jada and Will, and then the next thing you know, we're sitting here listening to Wild Wild West and stuff like that. This is just how we get down over here, fam. Steve says, if the price is right, maybe. Remember the folks he had problems with are gone. That is very true. That is very true. I'd kick tires on that, man. I would, because it's not like he's a bad football player. Calvin Ridley's a very good wide receiver. I'd kick the tires on that, man. I'm just gonna be honest. Q, what's going on? He says, "What's up, Mark?" Hold on for a second. Let me get back over here for a second. He says, coming back from Vegas, and the beloved number 2 was sitting across from me at dinner. Oh, really? Really? Did you get pictures? Did you get pictures? I need pictures, Q. I need pictures. But that's dope, man. That's dope. Jonathan says, I'd love to see Drake and Ridley play together. It'd be a good combination. We do need somebody on the other side of Drake London. For real, for real. Armani says, I don't know Terry's still here. He traded him. Yeah, you know. Yeah. But you know, we did let Raheem Morris go and bring him back too. So you know, we can resurrect the dead. We can do some things. Q says this will be a good package to get Rid back and still end up getting our quarterback as well. Yeah. Q says, bro, I wish I would have got picks. I was with the wife and he was a little lit. Oh man, that's why they say never meet your heroes, man. Oh goodness, that's just like every story I've heard about people meeting Michael Jordan. It's never good. It's never good. You know, I don't know how many times I've heard Michael Jordan is the biggest asshole on planet Earth. Okay, hold on for a second, fam. The press conference is starting. So let me go ahead and do this real quick. Ooh, I gotta turn that down. That is loud. Okay.
For that, but that is why Arthur's not here. Again, he's in great spirits. And
so Arthur Blank is not at
really
the press
excited
conference.
about the man that's sitting in the center seat. He's also, because I know some of you asked, he's very
let me know if y'all can hear this real good, fam.
Added another validation to his vision for what this building is and what it means long term for the great city of Atlanta. So with that, we're going to get started. We'll turn it over to our president of the Atlanta Falcons, Greg Beatles.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Mercedes-Benz Stadium on this very historic, exciting day for us, for the Falcons. We're excited to welcome Raheem Morris here as our next head coach and his beautiful family over here. All right. Excited to welcome his beautiful family back to Atlanta as well. Thank you guys, all you media, for being here and covering us throughout the year. We do appreciate it. Thank you to all our fans, friends, family that are watching with us online today as well. We appreciate all your support. So first, just a few things about the search itself. We began in earnest back on January 8th after the press conference. And as you've seen, we had 14 just outstanding candidates. Arthur promised that we would have a very thorough process, thorough search. And we did. We had a wonderful team working, supporting us, doing a lot of research, working through all the interviews. So I want to thank all of them for the great work that they've done for the last month or so. And excited that we've landed on the right leader here with Raheem for our team. So we will start out. We'll have a few words from Terry. He'll pass it over to Raheem. And then David Bassity is going to moderate us, and we'll wrap up before 3 o'clock.
All right, guys. So again, like Greg said, really appreciate everyone being here.
Well, Raheem looking clean, boy.
Raheem's family. Very exciting. It's a really exciting day for all of us. I'll go back. I haven't addressed anyone, so I want to go back to the season just briefly. And I understand that we all had high aspirations for this season. We didn't reach our marks, and we didn't get to where we need to get this past season. And there were some positives, but clearly we didn't reach our goals. That's on all of us, starting with me. At the end of every season, whether you win 7 games, 12 games, or you win the Super Bowl, you're always going to take a step back and look at every process and go through the entire organization and look at areas you need to improve. And that's what we're always going to be doing. We're always looking in the mirror in the entire building. We're all looking at ways to improve. We understand that difficult decisions are made, and we know Arthur Blank has said that those decisions aren't taken lightly. I want to acknowledge Arthur Smith, and we had a great relationship, a very collaborative relationship. And I would say from 2021 to this point right now, we do believe that this team is in a different place, and Arthur played a big part in that. So we wish him and Alice and his family the absolute best moving forward as they take their next steps in Pittsburgh. As we get into the search, Greg said it was a thorough process. It was very detailed and organized, very appreciative of everyone involved in the search. Our entire organization was involved. There are some specific people. I'm not going to start naming people, but it was an excellent process, very thorough. There were excellent candidates, from former head coaches to there's some candidates that have become head coaches since then, and also some that we know will be head coaches. And we appreciate that, because that's not easy to go through that. Some guys are in the playoffs. You really put yourself out there when you're going through that process. And so it was very thorough. It was very detailed. We really appreciate everyone that was involved in it. Through that search, it was very clear that there was one person that really stuck out, and that's Raheem Morris. And it was his infectious energy, his natural leadership, his charisma, his football instincts and intelligence, but also his collaborative mindset and the way he puts people around him and listens and empowers people. His clear vision for what we're going to do here. And he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's got 2 rings, and we're going to get him another one. That's our charge. But it's been very fun working with Raheem these last 10 days. And I don't know when he sleeps, because he's on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast, and he usually wakes me up in the morning about 5. I'm getting texts from him. He's a FaceTime guy. He likes to FaceTime. So I know his family will already. I've met all Nicole and the kids because we're always FaceTiming. But it's been excellent as we've gone through and putting together the staff. The next step will be to work through our roster and really get into that, get into formulating our offseason plan, how we're going to attack free agency, how we're going to attack the draft. And we're going to make sure we put together a team and that is competing for championships and that is having sustained winning. That's what our owner, Arthur Blank, our organization, and most importantly, our fans deserve. So with that, I'm very excited to join Arthur Blank, Greg, our entire organization, in welcoming back to Atlanta Raheem and his family. Thank you.
That was awesome, Terry. This is a pretty tight crew today, I can see. Got to loosen you guys up a little bit. I know Allison's back there. She's pretty excited about this. But I had to loosen the crew up. This is not one of those tight situations. I want you guys to be comfortable in this environment with me, because we'll be here a lot, right? And it's pretty cool. But I wanted to start off by first thanking my family. I know they've been mentioned 3 times already, but I wouldn't be in this position without my extended family, my immediate family, whatever you want to call them over there. But my lovely wife, Nikki, my daughter, I don't even know. I can't even look at her anymore. My 13-year-old daughter, Maya, my 8-year-old little princess over there, Malia, and that little dude we call Jalen. Fired up to have those guys here for me, and what a wonderful deal. My mom and dad, I'm fortunate to be here and just delighted and doing it for the second time and getting this position, and then having your parents be a part of that and a part of getting back into the situation. Man, I can't tell you how good that feels as a son and as a person inside this family, and being with these guys, and just everybody that came today to support me, and my in-laws, my brother-in-laws, my mother-in-law, everybody involved. And it is absolutely outstanding that they're all here with us. They're with me. My agent in the back, Brian Levy, he's got the camera. He thinks he's part of the media today. Outstanding guy, him and Cedric Saunders. And I wouldn't be here without the Lazans and their help and what they've done for me, and everything that's happening with our family and everything that's moving forward. And I thank you guys for coming to support me today. Next, I just wanted to thank the Blank family. And you guys know how close and tightly related I am with the Blank family. But to make this thing happen, to be a part of each other, so thankful, so thoughtful. What a process. that I went through with everybody, just the National Football League in general, but having to be a part of the Atlanta Falcons is absolutely outstanding. You know, I know the family well, from the sons and Josh and Max to Arthur himself, to everybody that was involved, that was there every day on a day-to-day basis. This organization with Greg, with Rich McKay, with Terry, and everybody that was a part of that, with Brett Jukes, all of us. It's so nice to come back and see familiar faces from when you were here the first time, and to be able to meet some new people that you're really excited to work with and you're really ecstatic to work with. That was such an awesome feeling. And I also want to thank the people where I come from in LA, and the Cronkies and their family, and Josh and Stan, and just the all-out support that they gave me all the way from the top, going to Les Need, Sean McVay, Kevin Demoff, Tony Pastor, and the people out in LA were absolutely outstanding, and how they supported me through the whole process, how they've guided me through the whole process. They've let me grow. They've matured everything that you've done in this business, and some of those things. I want to let you guys know, I do understand the importance of being the first Black coach in Atlanta history without an interim tag. Understand the importance for that for us. Understand the importance for the people before me, the people after me, the current people right now. Understand the importance of that and how important that is to this city, particularly where we are right now in the Mecca of Black history, right? I think that's very important to acknowledge. The next thing I want to talk about is really the we factor. I am so excited to collaborate with Terry Fontenot and his family and our organization and his group and everything that they've done, right? Since I've left, they've done nothing but build pieces and get just a tightly knitted team put together. They've added to the culture that I can't wait to be a part of and add to. And I just think that was a really important factor for me to come back, and a really important factor of allowing me to come back and be a part of that. And I can't say enough about what the people around me have done moving forward and how we're going to move forward together. Make no mistake about it, right? The community supports us on Sundays to go out and win a game. And it's our job to support this community in a bigger way than you can even imagine. So I understand the importance of that as well. This Atlanta community is awesome. I can still remember the day of painting houses and all of our projects that we do. This whole family, this A&B group, is just an outstanding thing to be a part of. And I just can't wait to be a part of that thing and fully invested in doing all the stuff that we want to do with this community. And then the last thing I'm going to mention is the reason we're here. It's going to be a winning culture, and we're here to win football games.
Talk that talk.
At the end of the year, there's only one team that's happy. And Terry mentioned it, but I've only been in that position twice in my career, and I can't wait to go back there again. And I can't wait to do it with you. You guys, the media, you're part of this too. You're part of this team. I know you guys are all serious because it's the opening press conference. You give me the mean looks, but I'll get that out of you soon enough. Let's shake this crowd up, man, and let's have some fun and let the next part of this press conference begin with David Bassley leading the way.
All right, we'll go ahead and
Talk
open up the
that
Q&A. If you
talk.
can raise your hand if you have a question, mic holders will get to you. We'll start off on the left with Michael Rothstein.
Yeah, Raheem, you mentioned, obviously, this is not your, over here, other left.
Sorry.
You mentioned that this is obviously not your first go-around as a head coach. What did you learn from those 3 years in Tampa? I know it's a long time ago, but what did you learn from those 3 years in Tampa that gives you the confidence that will be more successful this time around?
Mike, it's the overall maturity of the profession is really what you got to lean on. The overall growth. Since Tampa, I've dedicated really my professional development to helping whoever I work for at the time. Right, I was fortunate enough to go to Washington and really work with Mike Shanahan and be around it and see a guy that's won Super Bowls as a head coach, be with him and just really develop, and him allowing me to be behind the curtain, so to speak, moving forward to here with Dan Quinn and going through the process of what we were able to do and doing a lot of winning football games and being able to be a major part of helping and contributing to those factors. Having the ability to go out to LA, get the job finished, being behind the curtains there as well, and being with that crew, Mike, it's been one of the things that you just can't ever forget about. One of the things that you can never look over and glaze over is the accomplishments that you have in your career. But now coming back and being a part of the collaboration the shared vision, all the things you want to do with Terry and what he's starting to build, and so excited to come back and going through this process and really going through it in a detailed fashion, I think it's the things that help us move forward. I'm fully prepared. I've been preparing for this since the last day when I was in Tampa, right? And you spend the rest of your time and the rest of your coaching career, you finish up figuring out when you're going to be ready for that moment. And this is the moment. And now it's time to go, Mike. And I can't wait to do it with you, even though I can't find you in the crowd.
That's a big deal, Mike. You asked him the first one. I thought we were going to zoom in.
I mean, I can't control
He's in
that.
Vegas.
He's
right?
lost in his hat. Terry, for you, I mean, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was, when Arthur Blank and Rich McKay were sitting up there, they said that, you know, it's really them, that you'd have input. How much input did you end up having in this entire process, as you're the, you know, the one up here, at least from a football perspective, that's answering the questions today, since Arthur Blank's not here?
Yeah, and Mike, I appreciate the trust and Arthur allowing me to lead that process. And there were a lot of people that were obviously heavily involved in.
Oh, he
in
led
that
the process.
From
Okay,
Greg
now.
Beatles, Rich McKay, our assistant GM, Kyle Smith, Ryan Pace. A lot of people put a lot of work into that process, and we know the ultimate decision is on Arthur Blank. But I've learned a lot from the way Arthur leads, because he's making the final decisions, but he's very collaborative, and he wants everyone to be involved and wants to hear what everyone has to say. So I was empowered to lead that process. We know Arthur made the ultimate decision, but it was an excellent process, and we're excited about the result.
That's that get back on Rich McKay.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach, Rex Castillo from WRBL News Team. First of all, congratulations on the job.
Thank you.
This coaching search had a lot of big names as well. With Coach Belichick, where you could talk to the casual fan about like his resume, not saying you're not qualified, but for some people who may be, you know, a little apprehensive with this decision, how can you assure the Falcons fans that they made the right choice, what you can do for them?
You know, Rex, when you're talking about competing in anything that we do, you're always talking about going against the very best. And Coach Belichick, and however you want to word it or however you want to write that, he's going to be considered the very best, if not the best, to ever do it in our profession. And I got so much respect for what he's done in his career. I would never, ever feel slighted or feel anything other way than what people would feel about a Coach Belichick, right? But you got a process in place, and you go through it and let the best man win. And whatever the case may be, I'm just fortunate to be sitting here in front of you. But to tell Falcon fans that we're going to go out there and do because of our football character, being accountable, being disciplined, being coachable, being dependable, I think those are the things that's got to get us going in the right direction. I don't think we can really focus on who was in the process, what you were doing in the process. It's just like going to play a game, right? When you go play those games, it really doesn't matter who's across those lines. It's our job to go out there and get wins. And that was my job in this whole process. Is how I looked at it, right? I got so much respect for anybody who's interviewed or been a part of this process that I can speak the world about all of them. And it's not just Coach Belichick. It's all of them. It's all the people that we interviewed. Now, do I know their names? No, because they didn't matter at the time, right? Most of them were gray matter, because it was just a competition. You're going out there presenting your best self, being the best version of yourself. And that's all I can be every single day.
Go back left to Allison.
Hey, Coach.
Allison.
How are you? Good to see you again. At what point, I guess, when you left in 2020, could you ever have imagined that you would be back here being the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons?
Allison, you hit the nail on the head. This is coming home. And when you get a chance to go back home in this profession, it is extremely important. And it is extremely critical to everybody involved. And that is a special moment, not just for me, but for my family, for everybody involved, for the media members that I see around that I know. I can feel the excitement through my texts. I can feel the excitement through the phone calls. I can look at DJ Shockley right now and feel the excitement, even though he's trying to be very serious in the back. But this has been a process for me that has been outstanding and so much fun. I can't tell you, I can't express the joy that I have right now to be able to come back and work with the Blanks, to be able to come back and work with all these people around me that I've been with for years. And I could talk about this for the rest of the press conference. I probably may bore you, but I don't know if you've ever been in this spot to coming back home, but this is certainly the best feeling in the world.
Go to Bailey back right.
Hey, Coach. Bailey Burmaster, Atlanta News First. Welcome. Kind of going off of that, I'm curious, from 2020 to now, being here as the head coach, where do you feel like you've grown and changed both personally and professionally to make this feel different?
Bailey, that goes back to me talking about where I've come from, right? Getting a chance to go help a friend in Sean McVay, go win a championship. Getting a chance to go be around Les Snead and really be jealous of that relationship, right? When I got there, one of the first things I told Sean, just noticing how we moved through daily and rhythm and routine and things that we've done was, man, I am jealous of you and Les Snead's relationship. I said to watch you guys collaborate and move in silence, be able to talk about everything, have your communication ongoing, have your communication consistent, honest, open, all of those things that you guys do with each other. That is the next step. The maturity level that you get from that and being able to watch that, and also talking to one of your really good friends while you're winning the championship, having the ability to go through some hard times that following year, having the year to start off with a really young team and start with your fundamentals, start with your physicality, start with controlling the ball, starting with some of those pillars. I thought it was a really cool process. It was a really cool learning experience for me. You know, it was no more fun than helping one of your best friends in the world, one of the people that you care about, winning the championship with an organization, having a chance to take all of those lessons learned, being able to listen, being able to communicate, and now bringing it back here to the Atlanta community to go out here and win what we need to do. And I got a lot of confidence that we can do that with the people I know are here.
We'll go Gabe Burns on your left.
Hi, Raheem. Congrats. Gabe
Yeah,
Burns,
thank you,
AJC. Could you just give us a little insight into your coaching staff and why Robinson and Lake were the right guys to bring over?
Yeah, I could talk about Robinson first. You know, Robinson's our offensive coordinator for those who don't know. And I explained to these guys when we talked about our staff and we talked about this collaborative effort of going to look for people and being detailed in the people that we wanted to bring in. And Robinson, from my head and my experience, made a lot of sense. I was around the young Kyle Shanahan, and I saw him really develop and grow into this great play caller that we know that's playing next week, right? I was around Sean McVay when he was young, really young, right? He was with my family really young. And I watched him grow and develop into this great player that we know, play caller that we know. And when I talked about it, you start to name the names, the Mike McDaniels, you start to name the names, the Matt LaFleur, and all the people that you're able to work with, right? This organization was the first organization to allow me to coach on both sides of the ball, right? Whether it was switching in the middle of the season, whether it was switching during the season, whatever the case was. And I saw it. I worked with people. I was with Dirk Cutter. I was with all these guys, Steve Sarkisian, all those people in the playoffs. And I see Zach Robinson, and I see him in the same light, right? I see him growing. I see him developing. I see him bringing this timing and rhythm and this balance to our offense that we can have and go out here and play. And whatever it looks like, it's going to be fast. It's going to be with those, based on those pillars that we talked about earlier. And those are the things that really just lit me up and made me ecstatic to have an opportunity to bring a guy like Zach Robinson to part of this. And I won't go as elaborate to the rest of the people, but I go so far back with Jimmy Lake, talking about our Tampa days, our core beliefs, some of the things that we believe in, like-mindedness, his ability to go call it in college, really have a real tenure in college where you climb the ladder as defensive coordinator, going to a head coach, having the ability to go through some hard times, fighting through some things. So the people you want to be around are really people that really fought through the process. And then I get here and Marquise is here. And you're talking about a young, dynamic coach that you can bring on and keep a part of your staff because of the people you know that you've been around, that you trust, and that's hired this guy. And I thought that was really impressive to me, and I thought that was really important to me to be around the right people, right? This is a people business. And I'll just talk about my coordinators right now, unless you have specifics. But I was really excited to be able to bring those guys as part of the Atlanta Falcon family.
Got Josh Kendall on the right.
Josh Kendall with The Athletic. You refer to this as home. Why?
You know, Josh, I spent a lot of time in Atlanta before I was even in Atlanta, right? I was a frequent Mountain Sky visitor, right? That allowed me to be around Arthur and his whole family, his entire family, and be a part of that whole nature of what it looks like, right? And a big part of what we do here is listening, right? And when I was here, I had the ability to grow and learn and develop and switching both sides of the ball, like I just mentioned, right? At the same place, at the same time, doing whatever it takes to win football games. Being here in 2016 and reaching the pinnacle and just coming up short, right? That was a real critical moment for me, right? So not only knowing the owner as the owner, but knowing him as a personal level. I've been hired by Rich McKay 3 times, right? In Tampa, here twice, actually 4, right? I mean, you don't get no more home than actually having the ability to talk about those things. Greg Beatles, I remember I walked by this guy in the hallway.
He just told on himself. I'll talk about that
and I would
when
walk by Greg
when the
Beatles
press
at 4
conference
o'clock in
is
the
over
morning,
with.
and he'd be the only person in the building. I'm wondering, who was this guy in the building with me, right? And now he's the president of this organization, and we're moving in the right directions. And these people here are just a part of my
Or
life.
he just told on Rich
You know,
McKay.
they know my family. I know their families, and I can't wait to build this thing, man. This thing is different, right? You know, we spend more time with the people that we work with, sometimes more than our own families, right? And I have no idea how my wife made my daughter sit this still and this long and be this patient, but she's done an unbelievable job. And it's no different than what they've done with me and my development. That's why this is home.
When you walked in the door at Tampa Bay, what did you think was the single most important part of a head coach's job? And is that answer different as you sit there right now?
It's 100%, right? When you're 32 years old, you got all the answers, right? Just ask me and I'll tell you, right? And what you find out is a learning process every single day. And you better be able to lean on people and talk to people and find out what is the best thing that work, right? When I took this job and I got offered it, right, by Terry and Arthur, obviously making the decision, but I told him in my interview process, I said, hey, I don't need to be the smartest person in the building. I want to hire, I want to be contribute, I want to collaborate with all the smart people that you've assembled. I mean, you talking about Carl Peterberg back there? You talking about one of the smartest men I know, right? And like, I want to be to collaborate with all those guys and get into the building and do those things and find out what's the best way to move forward with everybody that we're doing. Every person that we brought into the staff, whether it be any position, whether it's chief of staff, Steve Scarnecchia, and you bring a guy in like that to give direction and do the things that you want to do. And you join in with Sarah, who's going to absolutely take us to the next level, what we want to do and how we collaborate and how we go about our business. We're talking about Terry being with Cal and talk about Ryan Pace. The development over the last 10 days has just been so much fun that I'm so excited to get to the job and actually get to Flowery Branch. I heard it's a construction site, but I can't wait to get out there to do what we need to do. And all of those things and all those factors that you build throughout the process help you learn and grow. And if you don't I learned a long time ago in Tampa Bay from John Gruden. I took my first job in 2002, the first time Rich McKay hired me. And John used to always tell us, he said, you either get better or you get worse. And I've been in the process of getting better since those days and that moment leading up to us right now.
On your right, Steak.
Hey, Coach. Steak Shapiro, 92.9 The Game. Unfortunately, 7 years ago was a seminal moment for Atlanta sports as you were up on the sideline to watch it. I'm wondering how much appreciation you have for the pain of that moment and how it shaped some of the Falcon fans. And if you allowed yourself to think about for yourself and the fans of Atlanta and the folks that have been through what that was, what it would be like to kind of bring it all back home and you be a part of that and what it would mean for this community.
You won the award for best dress, by the way. You got it.
I'll tell you this, it is a part of coming home, right? That 2016 loss, it stings as bad as anyone I've ever had. Actually, the worst I've ever had on a stinging momentum, right? And to be able to come back here and get some real cool redemption, right? I want to watch Arthur Blank, work done, some of these guys hold up that trophy.
Do you think you have
Let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
You're going to ask a question before I get finished.
It was a pause. That was a dramatic pause.
I'm trying to give you these real
here we go.
dramatic pauses, and you just don't want to buy in. But that moment for us and our fans, and it's just not that moment. We were a part of it. We were, all of us. We added some pieces. We got different players. We got new leadership. We got different things in place that's going to help us rewrite that history. And I'm going to be right in it with the fans, and they're going to be right in it with us, right? That support that I'm going to show those guys and the support that they're going to show us, we will change that narrative because we can. Go ahead now.
No, that's it. Do you think do you see enough pieces here that process looks like it could be on its way? And is there a mindset of how long it would take?
You know what the cool part about that is you go through this process and you talk about all these other jobs, right? And you go home, and every time you think about interviewing for a different spot, you think about how you would create, how you would form, how you would collaborate with the people that are there, what you want to do. And this one, you sit home and you're just thinking, man, I hope Terry calls me today. Come on, Terry, just pick up the phone and make the call. Somebody go in there and talk to Arthur and let's get this thing done, right? And you do it because of the things that everybody here was a part of, right? Terry's done a great job along with the people and the help around this building in order to form the team and put them in position to go out there and win, right? It's a big old elephant in the back of the room and who's going to be the trigger man, who's going to do those things. And let's go collaborate together. Let's go figure out those things. Let's go put ourselves in the best position to go win football games. And I got a lot of confidence in the people in this room that we can.
Mark Zeno on your left.
Raheem Morris Introductory tonight. The game. This is for you and Terry as well. Kind of dovetailing that, taking this job right now with an owner who has clearly expressed his desire to win now, with a roster that looks like it's ready to win now. I know you're in year one, and there usually is some grace period, but Terry also in year 4. How much pressure do you feel at this moment to get this team to the playoffs and win now in your first year for both of you?
if you can give me an opportunity, let me know which owner doesn't give you pressure to win now. I'd like to field that question back to you. But like,
I don't hang on many NFL
this
owners.
this is what we do. And you got your Scully on, you're really intimidating. But this job comes with pressure, and it comes with pressure that we're all built for. And like, you got to embrace that. You got to embrace those moments. You got to want those moments. We got to live for those moments. And I don't know about Terry, but like, I can't wait to go out here and try to win with this man.
Yeah, it's exciting, and it's like any other. Obviously, all owners are passionate, but man, I think we have the most passionate owner. He wants to win in the worst way. He's no different than that passionate fan in the front. That's who he is. And you get calls at all hours of the night, and him just talking about little things because that's all he thinks about is winning and wanting to do everything he can do to win. And he'll provide us anything, literally anything, to help us win. And sometimes it's people like Greg that have to make it happen, that have to do it. But look, you go to our facility right now and look at what's going on there. It's exciting looking at what our locker room is going to be, what our weight room is going to be, looking at what things, there's a lot of exciting things going on. So we appreciate that about Arthur Blank, how passionate he is. And we know he'll provide us with whatever we need to win.
And the one thing I can add with that too is like, and I know I've been talking too much, guys, but this is my press conference. But the one thing I can add with that is it does come with pressure, no doubt about it. But like, when you know you are fully supported by the owner the way we are, that makes it special too. You know, like, we all got pressure. You know, that's a part of what we do. That's a part of life. But the support that he shows, the direct communication, all of those things that you know you can have with them is really important to how we move. And I think that's important.
How many conversations have you guys had about the quarterback position, and what is that going to look like going forward?
You know what's cool about that is we've had very limited conversations about it right now. And the reason being, we got to formulate a great staff. We've collaborated more on building this staff, and we're almost done, right? We got a lot of people in place, and we want to get people there. And we've had some conversations in brief passing, and we have some ways that we know we can go about getting it. Obviously, free agency, obviously trade, obviously the draft. And those communication to me just landing the other day are going to continue to happen. I'm so tired of looking at this man on Zoom that I'm so happy to be here so we can do these things. And he's a lot better looking in person than he's on Zoom. And I'm so excited to be here with him and his family and to move forward and to grow our family, along with everybody. It's going to be a real cool process of going out there, finding out what we can do and how we can do it.
Right next to him, Brandon, home team league.
Coach, welcome back to Atlanta. Home team, Brandon Leak from Sports Radio 680 The Fan. Welcome back home. Question for you, follow up on that question. The attributes, you've been a Super Bowl champion. What are the attributes of a Super Bowl caliber quarterback? You've seen Matt Ryan, you've seen Matthew Stafford. What are those attributes as you guys search for the right quarterback to get it right? And for Terry, last time we assembled, we were told that in the last power structure, you reported to Rich McKay and the coach reported to Rich McKay. Now the power structure has changed a little bit where you and Coach Morris report to Arthur Blank. How is that different for the organization moving forward?
Okay, you go first.
It doesn't matter. I'm tired of talking, so you can go.
I'm going first. Okay. Yeah, great question. And so initially the way the process is I was partners with the head coach, reported to Rich McKay, and then ultimately Arthur Blank. And you had a brand new GM, right? No experience as a GM, and you had a brand new head coach, no experience as a head coach. So that's natural. That said, the decision-making was always ours. We kept leadership informed, and yet the decision-making was always ours. And I appreciate having really smart, experienced people around. That's really important. We talk about Arthur Blank. We have a lot of conversations. Sometimes it's not about football, where we could be talking about a football decision and he relates it to business and some experiences that he had. That's very valuable. I like having people like that around. Rich McKay, he's drafted Hall of Fame players. He's hired Hall of Fame head coaches. Tony Dungy told me the story about when he went through that process with him and how a lot of other people would have never hired him, but the way Rich took his time to get to know him, hearing those stories are really valuable. You love having that kind of experience around you and the willingness to share those stories, not only the ones that were successful, the ones that weren't. And Rich changes his stories up sometimes. They're not always the same, but it's real valuable having that experience around. I appreciate that. And even though he's going to be in some other areas, you appreciate having that around. Look, my dad lost my dad last year. My dad never worked in a front office. He never sat in the GM seat, but I appreciated all those conversations with him because there's life experience. So having experienced people around you that you can lean on and communicate with is really important. So you value that. Again, that said, the decision-making was always myself and Arthur Smith at the time. Moving forward, the decision-making is myself and Raheem. We keep everyone informed, and that's important. I'm excited about moving forward with Greg Beatles. You know, in the first 2 years, Greg was obviously in a different role. And so I didn't have a lot of direct dealings with Greg, and yet you respected him from afar. And then this last year, once he became president, there's a lot of direct dealings with him, and it's been outstanding. Greg's obviously really smart. He's an excellent communicator. He's very direct and honest. And the way Greg went from being an intern and became the president, that's a pretty cool story. And so he knows every part of the building, and he's helped me a lot learn about the business part and some of the nuances that I don't understand in the other areas of the business. So it's been great working with Greg. He's the type of person that whatever we need, he's going to figure out a way to get it done. That's who he is. If he can help us win, he's going to figure out a way. So again, working with Raheem over these previous 10 days, it's been really collaborative and fun. And obviously Greg, I've seen more of these guys than I've seen my wife. And that's why she's here today, because I haven't seen her in a while, but I've spent more time with them. So I'm very excited about our setup moving forward.
Sure. And it just answers the question about the quarterback. You know, we got a real good vision, right? And obviously it'd be a shared vision between myself, Terry, and our coaching staff and a lot of his scouting staff and the people that we're going to involve in that whole process. But we got a real clear understanding of what it looks like in Atlanta, right? We've seen it at a very high level, right? And what was Matt Ryan? You know, you talk about just the people that you've coached. And I just come from real clear what it looks like quarterback when you're talking about Matthew Stafford. But when you get those guys that are elite processors, when you get those guys that are decision makers, when you get those guys that can just cut it loose and play ball, and also play with those great fundamental techniques that we're talking about, the base, the balance, the short hitches in the pocket, some of those things, it makes you excited, right? To go out there and find those things, right? Sometimes not easy to see, right? Obviously, you got to look at some college tape. Sometimes you can see a little bit more in free agency tape. Sometimes you can visualize that thing, how you can trade, right? But you got all those windows out there. You got all those avenues. But I got a lot of confidence in the people that are going to be able to help me be a part of finding our next quarterback to move forward.
Very back right, Michael Cunningham.
Question for Terry. Arthur has talked about the importance of the collaboration between the coach and the GM when it comes to building the roster. What did you see from Raheem in his interviews that let you know this is a guy who I can be on the same page when it comes to that kind of stuff?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. And, you know, I didn't know Raheem before we got on the Zoom. I didn't know him personally, but I had been hearing a lot of really positive things about him. And even when he was a head coach in Tampa, I told him some few things about his press conferences because I used to listen to him. And so I've known about him or of him for a long time. And the way people talk about him is that part of it. He's a really good teammate. He's a really good person. And when you think of the personal part of it, all those things, you get into his football acumen, it's really impressive. But so I was really excited going into the first Zoom. And after the first Zoom, when you go through it and you really see the way he speaks and the way he communicates, I felt like we've known each other forever. And we kept going through the process and we take our time. And then we obviously had the next interview. But all the research that you do on him, all the people, whether it's current players, former players, staff members that he's worked with. And another part, somebody asked about the coaching staff. A lot of guys on our coaching staff were excited about staying because of Raheem, and they had opportunities. We have coaches that had contracts on the table with other teams, and they held off because they wanted to see if they were going to have an opportunity here. And obviously really honest with him. And hey, the next head coach is going to meet with you. And Raheem went through that process and did that. And guys were really excited about being here. They turned down other opportunities to come back, and he was willing to listen to our opinions and then spend time with them. So I knew prior to from doing the research and obviously all the time we spent with him thus far, it's been exciting.
Charles Odom on your left.
Charles Odom with the Associated Press. So welcome back. Good to see you. Yet another quarterback question. You spoke about moving forward to find the right quarterback. And we've talked about the roster as it's currently constructed. As you make the decisions about how to look at quarterback free agency, trade, draft, how important is it to make decisions about, is this
roster ready to win with just help from the right guy taking the snap. And what's your, how would you compare that to what you've gone through before, with the Rams in Tampa Bay?
First of all, it's good to see you again, but there's never one reason why you win a championship. There's always a bunch of different reasons, right? And the quarterback is always the elephant that sits in the back of the room that everybody can talk about, because usually those are the people that get too much blame sometimes or too much credit at times. Whether you're talking about the head coach, the quarterback, or whatever the case may be. But it's the pieces around it, right? And when you're talking about Terry Fontenot being your general manager, it starts there, right? The collaboration, the shared vision, some of the things that we've been to do in the last 10 days really excites me. Then you talk about the pieces of the team that's been put in place by everybody here just in general, right? And you talk about the relentless ability to improve every single day. And you talk about every position that we have on the football team. You're talking about role clarity for everybody that we have and how they're going to do and how they're going to go about their business. You want to make sure that we are trying to get better at all times, right? And when you're talking about adding a quarterback, those are some of the factors that take you over the top. Those are the things that give you a chance to win every single game. And the quote that Terry mentioned from my Tampa days, he talked about was, he said, he never forgot when I said there's a mentality before it's ever reality. And when he said it, I was like, man, I did say that. That was a cool statement. But it's certainly that. It is definitely a mentality before it's ever reality. Let's go put our people in position to win. Let's go find the people to do it. Let's make sure we get real clear, defined roles on how we want to do it. Let's get a vision. Let's make it happen. And go execute it. That's the key.
Right next to Charles, Ken.
Raheem, Ken Segura, the Journal-Constitution. Welcome. Question for both of you guys. Raheem, first, after Tampa, your record was what it was. Did you have concerns, worries that you would never get another chance, and kind of what was that wait like? And then Terry, as far as you use the word leading the search, can you describe kind of what that entailed for kind of how your role fit in the process?
Ken, you don't know me very well, but I definitely don't think like that. I'm a driven person, and, I'm willing to fight any obstacle put in front of me. And my thought process was never having the opportunity to do it again. It was more about finding the right opportunity than people to do it with. Because usually that's the most important thing when you're doing any of these type of jobs, like who you're doing it with, right? And I really don't care about any of the other things, right? Circumstances are circumstances. How you go about your business is how you go about your business. But coming here, bringing it full circle, doing it with these people again, Greg Beatles, Rich McKay, Terry, Arthur Blank, Dukes, man, I am excited, right? This was the right opportunity. This is the opportunity. This is our opportunity. And that's how I've always felt that way. Like I've never gone into that state of mind, and I want to allow myself to. And, I got a lot of reasons over to my left why that won't happen. A lot of mentally tough people over there. I don't know if you know my brother-in-law, Michael, but he's pretty mentally tough. And he's the real deal.
Yeah, so it was it was collaborative, like we said, and Arthur Blank is going to make the ultimate decision, as he did, but the entire process was collaborative. When I say lead the search in regards to the interviews, I was leading the interviews, and there were other people, and it was very, very detailed and organized, and the way we asked questions, the way we went through and make sure we got the right answers and made sure we assessed everything. And it was a very detailed, organized process, but I led that process, if that makes sense.
Go Reggie, back right.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. Reggie Chapman, 11 Alive TV here in Atlanta, the NBC station. You knew you'd have to talk about a lot of things in this press conference, but one of the things you mentioned very early is that it wasn't lost on you that you're the first full-time Black head coach here for the Atlanta Falcons. Why is that such a big deal for you, and why is that not lost on you? How cool is it also to be sitting alongside Terry as well?
I'll start with the Terry question first. It's really cool to be sitting next to him. I think you find guys in your life and you want to be a part of and you want to work with. And, these last 10 days have been pretty special, but it started even special just throughout the process, right? The Zoom interview that turned into the in-person, and it really turned into this real cool collaboration just in those small moments of time. And I thought that was a really cool spot to build, right? And you mentioned being the first Black coach without the interim tag, like I talked about earlier, but that's not about me. That's about us, all of us, right? That is the progress, that is the movement, that is what we look for. That's been talked about every single process that I've been through. And I believe I told somebody, I can't remember who I told, but I told somebody in this whole process, I said, you know, the coolest part about this process was that it wasn't even brought up, about it being a lack of diversity, about it being a lack of Black people having an opportunity to be head coaches, right? I think it was 3 in this cycle. I don't know exactly, but it was never even brought up. And I thought that was a real cool moment, that was less about what we talked about and was more about the right people for the job and the right placement for people in their jobs than that. And that's why I thought it was pretty cool, because it was more about the people before me. It's more about the people after me, you know, and particularly that little one sitting over there, and Jalen, right? It's more about him.
Stick at that table with Kelly.
It's right here, right next to him. Kelly Price from Fox 5. Welcome back. I'm curious for you, what do you feel like is the biggest difference between the Raheem Morris who's sitting here now and the one that was on that sideline just a couple of years ago and was potentially going to be the head coach back then, obviously here now? What are the biggest differences that you think they maybe saw throughout this interview process?
You know, I don't know if there's anything that you solved throughout the interview process. I don't know if you can do it that way. I think it's more about my own personal development, right? Sometimes you need to get away from each other, you know, and you get a chance to go away and you grow. And I certainly, you know, didn't have time to sit around and sulking of the fact that I didn't get it the first time, right? It was find a way to go get better. And I went away. I got around some really great people that I mentioned before. Got a chance to do those things. Got a chance to have the ultimate success in this profession. Found a way to really go through adversity and see who comes out of those things, comes out of those moments, and found a way to rebuild it and do it again, right? All at the same place in a matter of 3 years. I mean, what a ride, right? Before I left LA, I went out to eat dinner with Sean, and we talked about that. I mean, what a ride that was for the last 3 years. And all it did was make me better to come back home, to find a way to finish off 2016 that we didn't get done.
Not to add to that, Kelly, some people aren't open in talking about their previous experiences, if whether they went well or didn't. Some people aren't very open about it, but the openness and the humility and the clear vision of the things that he's seen from all his experiences and how he's adapted, he's very open about that. But what stuck out about that is I know how smart he is, and I know how the acumen and the experience, all that stuff. I mean, there's not many people that can go, these are the best in the world, what they do to go on either side of the ball. That's pretty rare. But the humility, the natural humility, and talking about things and being very open about how he would adjust, that really stuck out.
You probably can't tell, Kelly, that Raheem's a pretty positive person. And, you know, I think that was something that made an impression on us, was the hard times that he has gone through in the past and the learnings. That's what he turned it into, a learning. You know, there's a lot of people in this industry, if it didn't work out somewhere, that they're bitter about that and they can't let go of it. And so, you know, I definitely saw that in Raheem, that he wanted to learn from it, and he took those learnings, and he's been a mentor to all these guys that are head coaches in the NFL. Even when he wasn't a head coach, they're all looking to him for leadership and mentorship, and that made a big impact on us.
Coach Joe Patrick, front row left.
Hey, Raheem, right here. Joe Patrick, 99 The Game. Nice to meet you. Back to the quarterback issue. And Terry, if you have anything to say about this, I'd love to hear it as well. But you'll obviously have a lot of people you'll rely on when it comes to making a decision on a quarterback that you might want to acquire. I want to ask in particular about Zach Robinson and his background with quarterbacks, not just coaching them, but obviously his background in having evaluated them. How much will you lean on him? And just in general, with Zach, how have you kind of observed him in working with some of the quarterbacks in LA?
Sure. Zach is one of the cooler guys that I can't wait till you guys meet him, right? He's one of the cooler guys to be around, right? He's played the position, you know, he's got some really cool stories about playing the position in Oklahoma State and doing some of those things. He lost to me when he was at Oklahoma State, when I was at Kansas State. So make sure you guys remind him that when he gets here. But his ability to connect with the quarterback, his ability to relate to the quarterback and what they do and how they do it and how they go about their process. You know, how do they get to the point to be ready to play at the highest level that you need to play in this league? I thought stood out to me working with him. Watching the work that he did with the quarterbacks that's come through when I was in the LA Rams has been absolutely outstanding. Watching his development with Goff, and then watching it come with Matthew Stafford. We go through a year where you do it with a couple different guys in the backup situation. We had Baker Mayfield midway. He gets it going, win some games that we probably even shouldn't have won because of the ability for those guys to be able to connect. Getting to this season, we get it going again. We really rally around our quarterback. We find a way to win. The whole team has belief, and that belief just doesn't start with just the player. It's the coaches around them. It's the people around them. It's the things you do to make it really special. And he has an amazing ability to connect with guys and get the best out of them, no matter what happens, in the most positive way, which Greg just mentioned and alluded to. But I am fired up to watch him as a teacher. I'm fired up to watch him as a mentor, as a confidant. All of those criteria that we talk about when we talk about really good coaches. And the young man just has really high capacity. It really does. And I'm fired up to get him here and get us going.
All right.
Congratulations.
That guy's been, you've had your
I appreciate
hand
you.
up the entire time.
You good.
I was getting tired for him.
I was going to be patient about it. Congratulations and welcome home, Coach. Yes, sir. First off, Tony Reese, WTVM News Leader 9 out of Columbus, Georgia, the ABC affiliate. First off, Coach, when you first got the recognition that you were going to be named the head coach, you received a lot of praise from several players across the league. Just kind of what did that mean to you as well? And in year one, just kind of your vision, some of your goals, what you hope to implement.
It's always a cool experience when you get praise from players you've coached, players you've been around, players that have retired and moved on and done different things, and players that are now coaching and doing some of those things. That is like the coolest thing in the world, because it just shows the impact that you wanted to have in their lives and how you've had it. And I don't even know how you feel at those moments, because it's so surreal that it just makes you just know what you've accomplished this far and how special it is to you and to them, that it's just fun. I don't know how to put it. It's just fun, right? And, as a coach, you're always taught to ignore the noise, right? And that's got to be a part of the noise as well. But it is cool to get some acknowledgement from people that you work with and coached, and be able to do those things. So that's a cool thing.
What you hope to implement?
You don't make predictions in this business. It's too hard, but like I said before, every single year you're competing for a championship, and the clear cut goal for us is obviously to win the South. And if you can win the South, you can qualify to get into the playoffs. And if you can get to the playoffs, anything can happen. So you want to go out there and try to get yourself into that mindset, because like Terry mentioned, it is definitely a mentality for us every reality. And that's got to be the focus of all of us. And the last thing with that is, why not us? Why not?
Tanitra, on your left.
Yes. Coach Raheem Morris, congratulations.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back. Appreciate having you back here. And Terry, how are you? So it's actually a two-part question. The first question is for both you guys, and the second question is for Coach Ross. So, we talk a lot about numbers, but outside of a number of wins north of 7, that's the obvious, or a trip to the postseason or something quantitative, Coach, for you, what would define success in your first season as a head coach here? Same for you, Terry. What would you see as success for Coach Rod in the first season? Again, not quantitative,
So
qualitative.
You're going with Ra, because it's been a discussion at my house. My kids say go Heem, call him Heem. That's what Instagram, it's Heem.
I felt like I might have gotten too
You're going
comfortable, because
Rod?
then I'm going to call him Heem. So if I put Coach and Rod together, I feel like I'm giving him
Here we
his
go.
propers.
You going first?
No, you can go first.
What was the question again?
Okay, T,
Ask me
go.
again. So ask me a question again.
Okay, what is your definition of success for Coach Raheem outside of the quantitative? We all know what that should look like, north of 7 wins at a minimum. But what would be the qualitative where you'd say, hey, mission accomplished, this has been a successful year one?
I think we always have to focus more on the process as opposed to focusing on the result. Let's focus on the process, because we know if we focus on that, then we'll reach our goals and we'll reach that. So right now we've been focusing on the staff, looking at every area and the things that we need to adjust, and we'll get into looking at free agency, looking at the draft, and we won't close any doors, whether we're talking about trades, that we won't close any doors, and we'll formulate our offseason plan, and we'll make sure we get this team prepared for the season. So I wouldn't get into the results at all right now. We just focus on the process.
Along the same lines is when you guys come to the games along with the fans, I want you to be able to sit in your seats and say, that team executed. They had great fundamentals. That team controlled the ball, and man, did they play with a physicality. Like if you get those 4 things done, which is part of our pillars of success, you got a chance to win whatever amount of number of games that you mentioned, whatever your goals are, whatever your quantitative number is. But if you can do those things every single week, like Terry just mentioned, you will feel really comfortable with the results because of the process that you put yourself through.
And that kind of leads into my next question, Coach Ra. You know, some fans, just to be honest, you know, like
Yeah.
Steak said earlier, they're still kind of triggered on what happened 7 years ago and kind of wonder, a lot of fans have said they feel like it's kind of a throwback to that regime. And so what would you say to those fans where you want to let them know, hey, not that I didn't learn anything from when I was here before under the Quinn regime, but I'm Coach Raheem and this is who I am and this is my philosophy. What would you say to them?
You know, I really think I had the opportunity to do that in an interim basis a couple of years ago and change the dynamic on what things look like, right? Got a lot of like-minded philosophies with Coach Quinn. Got a lot of like-minded things that you do like about it, right? But there's some subtle differences in all of us as people and as humans and how we want to move forward. And I think it's less about telling people on what's going to be different. It's more about showing people what's going to be different, right? And I think I don't have to do it myself. Is the beautiful part about it, right? It's a collaborative effort with Terry, with Greg, with Arthur Blank, with everybody just involved. And like, I think if that's the mindset, and that's the number one mindset, you will continue to get better and better every single day. And that's just where we are with that.
Go back, right?
How you doing, Coach? Congratulations. Welcome home. Jack Patterson with WRBL News 3 in Columbus. A two-part question for you. First things first, it's been since the 2017 season since the Falcons have had a winning season. What do you do to right the ship here and bring back a culture that Falcons have come close, but they haven't been able to get over the hump, so to say? And then secondly, what have you seen from the current roster that you like, and what have you seen that you want to make changes to?
You know, when you're talking about getting back to that mindset of what you need to do to get over the hump, right? It starts right here. Starts right here. You know, getting with Terry, coming up with this plan, bringing in the coaches that we need to get in place, collaborating the coaches with our scouts, seeing who else we can add to this roster that he's already started to build, done such a great job of doing, being a part of that decision-making with him, with me, us collaborating together. I mean, you can't do that enough, right? Our thing has to be based on our communication skills and how we move daily throughout our lives. That's the number one thing that's got to happen to getting back to that moment, to getting back to those playoff type moments that we talked about with all the people across the board. And the second part of that question, you got away from me really fast. What'd you say in that second part? That's really easy. Drake London. Bijan Robinson. I mean, this man has acquired some really good pieces and tools, right? And the things you got to change is just the obvious holes that we'll talk about, right? And every team every year is going to have some differences. Every team every year is going to have some change. Every team's going to be different. And we just got to keep building on those moments when they change, when they don't happen, when they do happen, yada, yada, yada.
It's exciting. We're actually right now, our scouts just got in town and we're starting our February meetings. We're actually doing them out here because of all the construction, but they'll be rolling for the next 10 days, going through their process. As soon as the coaches get in, then we'll get together with the coaches and we'll spend a lot of time with them, not only working on our roster, but talking about the specific profiles of the position. And so we all know that what we're going out and looking for, what we're hunting for, and making sure we're all speaking the same language. That's going to be a really detailed process going through that. And then again, we go and attack it and we're going to identify those areas. These are the musts. These are the areas where we have to add to these specific positions. These are the needs. We'll formulate that plan and figure out a way to go get it done. But it all starts with, like Raheem said, that communication, that collaboration between us, between the coaching staff, and then we'll move forward as a team.
All right, we got time for one more. We'll end with Michael Rothstein.
Yeah, I actually have a question for Terry and Greg and then a question for Raheem. Going back to the search.
So basically, you have questions for you.
Yes.
This Michael guy, he's got some real pull. He's got two questions.
I do what I
noticed
can.
that.
Raheem, you'll notice. I do what I can. For Greg and for Terry, going back to the search, in terms of Bill Belichick, how serious of a candidate was he? And you guys met with him twice early on in the process. There were a bunch of reports of breakdowns over maybe how much power he wanted. Where did that kind of maybe fall apart in terms of the level of seriousness when you guys looked at him?
Yeah, I can start on that, Michael. All of our candidates, first of all, were serious. We interviewed 14, 3 in person. So we had 3 very experienced veteran coaches that the league allowed us to meet in person. And, we preferred meeting in person versus virtual if we could. Anyone that was under contract to an NFL club, we couldn't meet in person until the 22nd. So we had a lot of time before that where we met with Coach Belichick, Coach Harbaugh, Coach Vrabel, who all obviously have a great track record and were excellent interviews. I think the thing that we came away with and have talked about a number of times afterwards is just the number of fantastic candidates that were out there. And I think Terry mentioned earlier, several of them have already gotten head jobs through this cycle. So probably half the guys that were on our list, are out there, got the jobs that were open. And so Coach Belichick was obviously a very serious candidate for us. You can't have anything but the ultimate respect for what he's done in his career. And at the end of the day, it was just what's the best fit for us in the current situation where we are, the current time that we are. And our group was unanimous to Arthur in our recommendation that was Raheem.
Do you have anything there, Terry?
No, nothing to add. It was it was an excellent process. And you learn a lot when you're going through that process. And we're talking to some of the brightest minds in the game, whether it was the coaches that have had success already or coaches that we know are going to have future success. So it was an excellent process. It was very thorough. You appreciate those times because you learn a lot about the league. You learn a lot about your team. And it's important to go into it with an open mind and with humility so you can actually listen and learn. And so I appreciated all those. I know we appreciated all those interviews and appreciated the time, and we're thankful for it, and we're excited about the result.
And Raheem, you had talked about your coordinators, and one thing that is noticeable, if I'm correct, is neither one of them has called plays on the NFL level before. Was that a concern when you were hiring the coordinators? And also, are you going to be calling the defensive plays, or is Jimmy going to do that?
It wasn't a concern because of the knowledge and the knowledge base from the coordinators that we've gotten here both. And I got full confidence in both of those guys having the ability to do it. I've been around Zach Robinson in certain situations where he's been able to call it actually in NFL games, whether it be preseasons or not, but it's more about the confidence, the flow, how you get it out there, the ability to do those things. And then obviously Jimmy's called it for a long time in the college game. And I don't see a lot of confidence and struggle issues that he'll have calling at this next level. So I'm really confident in both of those guys having the ability to do that. Myself personally, I want Jimmy Lake to get out there and be able to be in front, right? Calling the plays and me be able to be on both sides of the ball so I can really be involved in how we handle situations, how we go about our game management, all those type of things, just so you can be the entirety of the head coach and you control a football team the way you want to control it. So got some real thoughts in that, got some real thoughts behind that. I can get into depth and how I feel about those things with you, but really got a lot of confidence in those two men calling the game, right? And there's other ways to train people within practice and how you go about your business when you do live period and stuff like that, when you compete. So we'll get plenty of time to do those things, and that's all a part of getting better. There was a time that I didn't call a play, and I was able to go out there and do those things just based on how you train and how you develop and how you grow. And that's some of the cool experiences that you have when you do this thing, when you're talking about the people that you want to bring in.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you all for coming out. We're going to wrap up with a quick photo op with all 3 down in front.
All right. That seems to be the press conference. They hit an hour almost to the minute. But your boy Raheem looking pulpit clean, man. Oh, and they gave the boy the jersey. All right, fam. So that was the press conference. Let me get my music back on. I'm gonna be brief. First off, I think they hit a home run with this press conference. It was totally opposite of that train wreck of a press conference that they had about a month ago. Greg Beadles has a very likable personality, and maybe it's just because I'm biased. I do not like what Rich McKay has done for this organization. A couple of things, and then I'm gonna get out of here, and I'm gonna, have you guys enjoy the rest of your day. But one thing that I noticed right off top was there was no mention of Desmond Ridder. They didn't even say his name. When they asked about the quarterback situation, Raheem brought up the scouting department, and then he said, our new quarterback. Guys, Ritter's not your starter. So all this talk about Zach Robinson coming in and, coaching Desmond Ridder up. No. Y'all can stop right now. Your boy told you in so many words, he's not my guy. And Terry Fontenot backed that. Another thing is, I kind of expected this when Raheem got hired, but now seeing it in the flesh, him and Terry, man, it's almost like peas and carrots, man. Completely different vibe between those two than you had with Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot. Those guys look like they about to hit a barbecue later on. So that is going to be a very, very great relationship between the two. Raheem Morris, fam, I'm not even going front. I almost can't knock Rich McKay for hiring him. Great personality. Apparently he had a game plan going into this press conference. Apparently he did. But Raheem told on himself. Rich McKay hired him. Like we all suspected when he got hired. We said he was a Rich McKay hire. People were talking about, no. He just confirmed it. It's the fourth time Rich McKay has hired him. He didn't say Arthur Blank. He didn't say the GM. He said Rich McKay. Now, does that mean that Terry Fontenot was lying about leading the charge? No. I'm pretty positive Terry Fontenot also led the search. I firmly believe that he led the search, but Rich McKay hired him. And then as a safety precaution, and this might have been Arthur Blank's doing, as a safety precaution, he stripped him from his football duties because everybody was giving Rich McKay that work after that press conference. Like y'all are telling us he's not part of football operations and day-to-day operations. And when we're finding out that he is, we're finding out that he's a shadow owner. So Rich McKay hired Raheem Morris, and then he was stripped to further legitimize why he's even there. But your boy Raheem Morris told on himself, which, hey, listen, I don't care about all that. I like the fact that Terry Fontenot threw a couple of jabs Rich McKay's way also. But man, hey fam, I'm ready for the season. Raheem Morris did an excellent job. Very, very personable guy. And it's good to see a black man in a position like this with a black GM. We ain't never seen this in Atlanta. So we're technically in uncharted territory right now. And I like it. But you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all something. This might seem bonkers and conspiratorial. I'm just gonna throw this out here. He kept mentioning coming home. This is definitely going to be a conspiracy theory. I'm putting this out here right the hell now. So if people say I'm wild for thinking this, fam, okay, I completely understand it. But hear me out. Let me find this real quick. So there are people that believe that football is rigged, right? Some people believe that, right? And for me, I don't know, but I do. One thing I do not believe in is coincidences. I do not believe in coincidences at all. At all. However, when he kept saying coming home, he kept saying this, I'm thinking to myself, let me share this. Let me share my screen. We're gonna go on a conspiracy theory right here. There is an artist who is heading the Super Bowl halftime show. I know y'all know who it is by now. His name is Mr. Steal Your Girl, Usher. That's his name, right? Now, Usher's dropping his album on Friday. The name of his album is Coming Home. And he's performing the halftime Super Bowl show. Now, this is conspiratorial. I know it is, fam. But I'm sorry. They kept mentioning coming home. And even the guys asking him questions, they were like, welcome home. And I'm like, man, they keep saying this. Like, one time I forget about it. When you say it 4 or 5 times, I'm like, and Usher is from Atlanta. Usher is from Atlanta. Y'all do with that what you will, fam. Y'all do with that what you will. That's my conspiracy theory. So Dwayne says, Mr. Steal Your Girl. Hold on. Mr. Steal Your Girl is Trey Songz, not Usher. Well, Mr. Steal Your Wife. Mr. Steal Your, whoever comes to see my Las Vegas residency, they gone, Usher. But I just, that's my conspiracy theory. Now, if we win next year, I'm gonna hold on to this theory, fam. I'm gonna hold on to that theory. But matter of fact, hold on. Let me find this song. Y'all keep asking me about this song. How would I find this? I'll have it for you guys next time. I forgot what the name of this song is. It's free. But that's my conspiracy theory. Y'all can say that shit is thin, and hey, listen, I'm okay with it. But if this is scripted and we do get a chip inside of 2 years, I'm coming right back to this. But anyway, man, it's just me messing around. I definitely like what I saw. They were very, very, very prepared for this press conference. Very prepared for it. Now the questions about Bill Belichick, they handled that, very professional. But on the flip side, I don't like the question because if Bill Belichick would have been hired, they wouldn't have asked about Raheem Morris. So, but I like that they put Terry Fontenot front and center, and shout out to Arthur Blank. They said Arthur Blank was like sick or something like that, but that might have been a good look for Arthur Blank not even to be there. Because what it showed is the two people that should be running this team were at the press conference. The two people that shouldn't have been running the team were at the last press conference. And you saw how differently that took. So yeah, man, I like it. I'm ready to play ball now. I'm ready to play ball. He sold me on the OC, sold me on the DC. With these guys not having called plays at the NFL level. At least they're on the NFL level. Y'all remember we hired Steve Sarkisian, and he had no NFL experience, none. And they hired him as the OC, not offensive line coach, no, straight to the OC. But you know, the camaraderie you can feel from Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris. That's the kind of camaraderie you want to see in a head coach and a GM. We did not see this with the last guy. We did not see it. It was like they were forced to work together. So, man, I give this an A+. I give it an A+. There wasn't anything that I did not like about this press conference. You know, Rich McKay was nowhere to be found. Nowhere. Jeremy says they playing Usher right now in the doctor's office in Texas. I'm holding on to that conspiracy theory. I might be wild for it, but they said coming home more than 5 times, fam. And then the welcome home. But another thing that I like that Raheem Morris is very aware of is pretty much owing this fan base. You know, we're in the trenches. We're not getting paid from this organization, but we're in the trenches with this team every day. So for me, when I look at this, man, he didn't say anything where I'm like, yeah, you wilding out for that. Everything that he said, I can back. And if I can back that, man, you know, I'm ready to ride. Now, the interesting question moving forward is who our quarterback is going to be. What are they going to do in the draft? Because he mentioned the scouting team. So it's apparent they got their eyes on somebody in the draft. Now, whether that be for the future or right now, they got their eyes on that. But they did mention, you know, looking at other guys that are already in the league. Dwayne says, Coach Morris had a very prime vibe with the do you believe. That's the first step necessary to get the players to buy in, believing they can win. I agree with that 100%. And shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to the chat. Y'all active today. Huckleberry says, keeping with that same thing, you can apply for the same coming home theme too. Hey, man, listen. I believe we're winning more than 7 games next year. Now, it's funny that when they mentioned that, Raheem Morris, he kind of smiled at that. With this team, fam, this team underachieved so badly this year that Raheem probably looking at this like, oh, bro, I got 7 wins in the bag next year. Y'all can book that. Y'all can book that. Kobe says trade for Fields. Huck saying trade for Fields. I saw somebody comment that Justin Fields coming home too. Hey, I'm at this point, I'm for whatever this team decides to do. What's going on, Blink? How you doing today? How you doing? Boogie says, man, Killer Mike makes a clean sweep at the Grammys, and now this stellar press conference. Atlanta is on the up and up, baby. But yeah, man, hey, I'm happy to see these brothers, Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot. I do believe that Terry Fontenot did lead the charge, which might be the reason why Bill Belichick probably got pushed aside. They're 2 completely different personalities. If we had hired Bill Belichick, I can almost guarantee you this press conference, 15 to 20 minutes. I can almost guarantee. Vaughn says, I know y'all like Fields. Would y'all be against bringing Watson home? Man, not with that contract, fam. Not with that contract. He missed his time. We had him home. We had him home. You know, but it is what it is. Devin says, I finally caught you live again. I'm liking what I see on the staff so far, and I'm glad Jimmy Lake has some good defensive mentors. I hope for the season. You know, the benefit about Raheem Morris, and he pointed this out with Jimmy Lake. Jimmy Lake is going to be calling the defensive plays, same way as Zach Robinson on offense, but our coach has experience on both offense and defense. So that'll work tremendously to his advantage in case Jimmy Lake slips early. You know, Raheem Morris has been on the defensive side of the ball. So again, I'm rooting for those guys to do good too. I'm not rooting for anybody on the team to fail at all, period. I want to win. But the chemistry that you see from Terry and Raheem, man, I'm telling you, after every game, them guys gonna be in the office drinking on a pint of yak. I'm here for it, man. I am here for it. But you gotta hit a home run on the quarterback. You gotta hit a home run on the quarterback. And with Terry Fontenot's resume the last 3 years, look at the pieces he's brought here. We got good pieces. When you look at our roster, defense pretty much set. We get Grady Jarrett back. Let me look at Calais Campbell real quick because I ain't heard Calais Campbell. Hold on. I ain't heard Calais Campbell talking about hanging it up. I think last thing I heard about Calais Campbell, he said he was good for another year. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see nothing about no retirements or nothing like that. But yeah, if you get Calais to come back, man, the defense is set. Offensively, and he mentioned it, Bijan, Drake London. He mentioned Drake London first. And I know why he mentioned Drake. Drake is a dog. Drake London is a dog. When he catches those 50-50 balls and comes up, man, y'all remember that one play, he caught the ball, came up, his helmet came off. Drake didn't give a damn. That is a baller right there, and that is a dog that you want. Vaughn says he ain't mentioned Pitts, though. Yeah, he mentioned Bijan. But I mean, the weapons that you got, Bijan, Tyler Algier, who's an absolute dog. You know, now, is Pitts up for trade bait? Who knows? Who knows? I feel personally you need to keep Pitts one more year. But then you got Jonnu Smith. So we'll see what this regime decides to do in the upcoming month or so. Monica says Pitts may be in trade talks. Could be the case. If they move up, want to put them in a package, or if they want to trade for a quarterback, put them in a package. May very well be the case. I know Ritter's name didn't get brought up though. So I know we moving on from Ritter. Like I said before the press conference, Ritter is competing for second string at best. At best. At worst, he ain't even on the roster next year. So I know Monica says Ritter's going back to DoorDash. Fuck, come on, man. Y'all DoorDash Ritter. y'all cold-blooded. Dwayne says Wilson is the move. Save money, win now, draft a young QB in the draft. Hey, I think that's a move that I would make. I would prefer a veteran quarterback for this upcoming year. You draft your quarterback of the future and you let him sit this year. I believe in that. But we knew that Ritter wasn't the guy. Abel says he fumbled Jamil. God dang, y'all cold-blooded, man. Y'all cold as ice. OJ says, I'd be okay with unloading Pitts if it means moving up. Jonnu is a dog. We don't lose much. Yeah, see, man, you know, now what they're reporting was Kyle Pitts was more hurt than we thought he was. Jonnu had a good year. He had a good year. Me personally, I'm not ready to give up on Kyle Pitts. But if that's the case, hey man, logo business. Y'all know what I'm about. April says, can we trade? Oh Lord, y'all petty, man. Can we trade Ritter for a bag of chips? Hey, depending on what kind of chips we talking about. Depending on what if people say, Cool Ranch, he can go. He can go. Cool for a party size bag of Cool Ranch chips. He can go. Peyton says, I'm down to put a package together for Fields, and I don't think we would even have to give our first this year. I'm not for giving a first for Fields. That 8, nah, that 8 has to stay with us. But if you can put a pretty decent package together to get him, and it doesn't cost you the bank, why not? Why not? TBI says Kyle Pitts is still a generational talent. He never had a real QB after Ryan left. Yeah, it's true. Ray says, I heard that if Russell is traded, Denver is on the hook for his contract. It was mentioned he could sign for a veteran minimum, and Denver has to pay the rest of the contract. I know for sure they have to pay the $49 million this year, no matter what. No matter what, they have to pay the $49 million. So again, I don't have a problem with a veteran quarterback coming in for that first year. And honestly, you know, quarterback slips to the second round. Anything's possible, fam. Anything's possible. Kay says, y'all down with paying Fields $200 million. Y'all crazy. Well, you got to look at the fact that it's the going rate these days. I don't think he get paid $200 million. But, you know, for a decent starting quarterback, yeah. Unless you get the CJ Stroud package where a guy is just automatic out the box, and you can get that for 4 years, or actually 3 years, and then they're starting to talk extension talk, then hey, that's great, but not a lot of teams get the CJ Stroud package out the box. But, you know, needless to say, fam, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because we're hour and 46. Man, this was a great press conference. Chat, great as usual. Great as usual, man. Y'all kept the energy going through the press conference. I appreciate that. So shout out to the chat, everybody watching. For people that catch this later on in the day, hey, thank you. Thank you very much. But we'll probably be back on, what's today? Today's Monday. So we'll probably be back on either Wednesday or Thursday. You know, to kind of dissect a couple of things from this press conference in particular, because I do want to talk about certain things, but we'll be well over 2.5 hours talking about this. But this was a good press conference. I think they got the right guy. These players will be ready to run through a wall for Raheem Morris. I wanted to suit up. I'm sitting here. I'm like, man, where's my Falcons jersey? I almost got off the headphones to go throw on a jersey. This man had me wanting to play. But he knows the importance of wins. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. Wins and losses. You got to have more wins than losses. And when a coach understands that and understands what your team looks like to the fans, he talked about, he wants the fans to see, the toughness, the physicality, all this other stuff. I think that's more than just lip service, man. I think he really believes that. And coming off of that 3-year stint with the Rams, they won a title, then had a down season, then went back to the playoffs when literally it looked like they were in a soft rebuild. Drafted Puka, Cooper Kupp came back. Kyron Williams turned out to be a stud. Then he got hurt, came back, studding it out again. Defense, our defense was better than theirs this year. But I think we had better pieces on defense than they did. So yeah, fam, I'm going to get off here, man. Y'all have a great Monday, a fantastic Monday. Y'all be safe out here, man. And I will holler at you either Wednesday or Thursday. I'll know for sure tomorrow. With that being said and done, man, I appreciate everybody clocking in with your boy to watch the press conference. And I will holla. Peace.